our next panel is the industry side. We have representatives from 4 different companies. They do different things, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Some of you that were a part of this a year ago have met the representatives before, but if you're new to this situation or this discussion, we have Thorsten Apel, Sportcontract. Welcome. Miska Kuusisto. Kuusisto. Sorry. Miska Pikaret. Sorry. Meghan, Chayka, and Morgan Zeba. I'm going to give everyone a couple of minutes to present themselves. But we talked earlier with the analysts, and these are the people that put it together. So when we're discussing what they do, the 3 different analysts, assistant GM, coach, advisor, they're using these systems. So let's talk about the systems. Let's talk about the validity of the data. Let's talk about how we can get better, what things are changing, and how things are moving fast. So if I give each of you a couple of minutes, you can tell a little bit about your company. Not everyone was here last year. Not everyone has seen you guys at the different places with the European Hockey Alliance that I have seen. So Meghan, would you like to start and give us a couple of minutes? Tell us a little bit about Stathletes, and then a little bit about where you guys are, and then I'll ask a few questions.
Absolutely. So Meghan, Chayka, co-founder of Stathletes. We started a bit like informally about almost 15 years ago. I think we'll be up on our 14th year actually having a business number. So it's been a long journey for sure. Specifically, we like to work in like the data space. So data analytics, products. We try to make our customers better. So a lot of B2B type deals that we do. We like if you don't hear from us, we want it to be our customers that shine. I obviously do a lot as well in terms of media. You know, I do a TSN segment, Strength in Numbers, every week. ESPN will be the draft, and that's obviously prospects development, large areas for data and analytics to help people develop and find players and draft them obviously and make them into NHL players. So for us, it all starts with the data and then building off of that into all the different spheres. So sports betting is obviously a bigger area now in North America that has emerged about 1.5 years ago. And, all, whether it's leagues, teams, players, we work in all the different verticals, better data, faster, more efficient, more accurate. That's sort of our mantra.
Perfect. Morgan?
Yes.
You and I have had a lot of time to talk and discuss different situations of other things when you've been in Gothenburg and installed different things in Gothenburg. Tell us a little bit about Spiideo.
Yes, thank you, Mike, and thanks for having me here. Spiideo is a Swedish company. We were founded about 8.5 years ago. We are almost 100 people now in the office, and when I started 6 years ago, we were 8. So we have a pretty big growth in that sense. Biggest sports is soccer, football, and ice hockey. And we are focused on video analytics. So anytime when you are in ice practice or games, we can film, we can use our cameras to monitor that, and from different angles, I will say. Then if you have other solutions like Sportcontract or Wise or Huddle or anything else, we have a platform that is open for a lot of other providers as well in that sense, because we know in the elite segment, you tend to use a lot of different products for use it. So that's very short about Spiideo, but I guess we will have some more talk with some questions with you, Mike. But yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Thanks, Morgan. Thorsten Apel, Sportcontract.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for having me here. I started Sportcontract in 1999-2000, so I'm a former professional hockey player. We started really before the time of we see now the last 3 to 5 years. Even in 1999-2000, we had the idea about having videos, having data, and these kind of things. But then we realized that the video quality was not there. The computers were too slow. The internet was not working as needed everywhere. So theoretically, in 1999-2000, we had to start without video. Since 2006, 7, 9, we had the first video integration in the system. So what we have is we have our platform that covers a lot of different areas. So we work with the coaches. We have a drawing tool, analytics tool. We have advanced analytics. We create our own data. So we have an analytics department that creates data, but also we ingest data. So we work hand in hand. For example, for us, it's really important to get good videos like we get from Spiideo, or that we get data from Liga or DL from Wisehockey. So for us, we really try to get these things together. We try to keep our department of each team. So we really are a pure hockey company. We are in really close contact with the teams on a daily basis, I would say. And we try to keep it as simple as possible. So software solutions that the teams can use on all kind of levels. So we work with NHL teams. They have different demands than teams. The majority of SHL teams work with us now, or we have a Linköping Hockey or Svenskan or Hockey Etan team, or now with the DHL also to support the women teams and leagues now. So we have all kind of different needs from the teams, I would say. So it's really different, and really the key is to keep it simple. And then you see on the high end that whatever NHL teams, as we saw this today in the talks, they need more raw data. They need videos from around the world. But then we have in the SHL Liga or DL teams that use it for scouting, but also then for analytic purposes. And then it goes down to junior teams that are just happy to have an easy tool to use to do some coaching. So I think.
Thank you. Miska, Wisehockey, tell us a little bit.
So in short, it is like a real-time sport analytics platform. What it means, so of course, visible part is that we are able to track players and puck real-time, so with the sensors. Also some extent with the computer vision, but we are counting on the sensors at the moment in hockey. And we have been coming a little bit from different angles. So we started like more like entertainment, meaning TV and betting side. Of course, you need to have some analytics about the game for that. But then, let's say, last couple of years, we have been then putting more effort also to coaching and those kind of features. And I think the beauty is that we are providing full end-to-end platform. So basically, you can get pretty much all from us, but of course we also know that the teams are using different kind of tools, so it's okay. But then the beauty is that we can coordinate information into reliable stuff. So for example, Finnish League or DL, they are using our data as official data, so they don't have manual like statistical versions at the venues anymore. So we can streamline a lot how you collect the data, and then everything is done automatically, so we don't have anybody at the premises. And then when you are doing that automatically, you don't have human error there. Of course, you have still certain error, but you can control always that. You know basically the general tolerances. If the people are doing statistics, there is always 2 people, 3 people. They are seeing different ways, and if you are going deep in analytics, so you're losing quite a lot. How you are doing that. So that's, I think, the special part for the analytics, that everything is automated and everything is available in seconds. And of course, we can then do lots of crazy things with that, which I think tomorrow, for example, one of our engineers are showing here that what are the latest things that we have been working around.
A year ago, we were discussing, and all 4 of you, I believe, were a part of that as well. And we'll go the other way around. So Miska, you can start, and then I'll go all the way back to Meghan again. A year ago, we talked about who owns the data. Is that still a big issue for your company and for your situation, Wisehockey? is who owns the data? And if it is a big question, is it resolved or is it close to being resolved or is it still a very long-term discussion?
In our case, it has been solved all the time. So we are very fair. We are the ultimate ownership is in leagues. So we are typically doing league-wide deals and basically they are owning the data. If we are disappearing, data is still there. But then if we monetize that, so then it is kind of revenue sharing because in our case we are not just doing sport analytics. It is those TV things, betting things, and there is new revenue streams and there is money coming in. It is not like a fantasy game. It is really so that if you are using basically this kind of system, so you can have some money streams and then you can have cost neutral solutions also. But it is super important that the ownership is clear because then you don't have to have the discussion.
Is it clear today?
Yeah, in our case, it is super clear. It is super clear. So
Thorsten, is it clear for your company? It's not. Okay. Can you give me a little more information about that?
Well, I think we still have a big discussion around, not only in Europe, around the world. It's not only about the data, but it's also about the videos. So who do the videos belong to teams, to leagues, or broadcasting companies, and I think what we see the last year, I think that's a good step forward is there's a lot of leagues that they start to at least look into the topic and they try to understand their own situation and to see what can we do now together to solve these kind of issues or to how can we get to a worldwide understanding about videos and data. I think that's something that's changing now and then it's on the table, so that's good. But I still think
lot to work.
It's not answered yet exactly. And there are some leagues. There's just one European league. I don't want to point to the league, but there was all discussion a few months ago, and the federation said the videos belong to us, and the team said no. And it looked like that the teams won. So the videos belong to the teams and not to the league or to every. So I think there's a lot of discussion. And what we mentioned also last year is that's just I would say the tip of the iceberg, because now we talk, does it belong to the teams or to the leagues? And what we mentioned last year is the same, like in the end, there's still players. What do the players say in the end? Does it belong to us or what is our share in that?
Sure. So. Morgan, Spiideo, you guys have cameras all over the place. Who owns it? Is it an issue for you? Or are you it's not a problem anymore?
No, I would say yes and no, but it's like when it comes to the games, is I guess it's the league who owns the content there. We have a lot of the teams today using our solution for practice as well, so that's the team that owns it. But in our case, it's fairly the guy who the person that records it owns the content in that sense, I would say. So yes, I will I follow Thorsten there a little bit in that sense, but it's the teams themselves or the league that owns the content, I would say.
I think it's a little bit different with Morgan. Sorry that you see my back, but I think it's a little bit different with videos and data at the moment. I think with videos, really that the teams have an understanding. Okay, I have my video, I can give it to a company, they can analyze my games. I think that's much clearer than what happened with league-wide solution with data or with videos. If the league is owning it, or what can a club do with that or not? I think there's the uncertainty, a lot of uncertainty.
Meghan, you guys are in North America. You've had to deal with this probably. I mean, it's all of your dealings. Where are you at with this discussion? Is it a hot discussion or is it an easy discussion to solve?
Not really. I mean, I think I've heard more from Europe of issues with like data privacy just because of like GDPR and all the other laws in Europe. It's a bit different the way we're structured. I mean, we work very closely there. You know, leagues are our partners, teams at the highest level. They know they have to use technology. We're also a software company. So I think there's a bit of a difference between a hardware company where you actually have monitors on the athletes and what is the PA saying? There's all sorts of different layers to go through before you make a deal. Software is a bit more straightforward. And I think there's always that chicken and the egg, right? What data are you collecting? How is it being used? How is it helping the athlete, not hurting the athlete or weaponizing against the athlete, especially if it's like sleep data or things that are more on the privacy side. So on ice performance, I think, is a bit more cut and dry, and people know that they want more data, they want better data, they need to opt into some of these areas. So it hasn't been as hot of a topic, I would say, but like sports betting changes things as well. So I think, it will reemerge as there's more data and different ways to collect it and different technologies. But currently, it's pretty straightforward, especially when you're aligned with the leagues, with the teams, with the players, and to what you're doing, who's getting the data and what that looks like. So we try to be very upfront with what the intentions are of everyone and everyone involved and have win-win, right? You never want to have like a win and then someone else feel like they're being taken advantage of or the data is going somewhere where they don't understand.
Now, I'll consider myself an old timer. Are you selling people sleep data, making money off?
Not at all. But that is something that is an issue, right? Because there's like Aura rings and other type of technology that can collect on these athletes. So I'm not even in that space at all, but I'm talking that's what I typically hear in tech conferences is when you're thinking of monitoring athletes, anything that's on an athlete, a wearable, all of these different things can help them. I'm not obviously in the sports science sphere in general, but I feel like that rears its head of athlete data and privacy issues far more than on ice performance. That's what I'm saying. On ice performance, I don't get much pushback. Stathletes gets almost zero pushback, but there's certainly segments of sports that you're wondering how that data is being collected and how it's being used essentially.
It's a challenge to do it when we have two on video and two here, but we'll go around the same way again. Tell us about the last year. We discussed earlier that things are moving extremely fast in the data business, in gaining data, in analyzing it, packaging it. But again, you guys are some of the most important companies in it. What's happened the last year that's kind of stuck out? Not the daily business, but where have you developed, and what has happened since we met last time? Morgan, I'll start with you this time just to change up the link. What's happened in Spiideo the last 12 months?
Yeah, I would say I think we've been 24 or 30 more people in our company.
In 12 months.
Yeah, in 12 months. We have a very big growth in that sense. But when the media part's coming in and now it's changing a little bit. Before you were chasing maybe a league or in that sense, but the lead up media part now and also getting down in the tiers has been a huge success for us to getting cameras out there. It is a race now. It doesn't matter if we're talking ice hockey or any other team sport. It is a race now who's get the fastest who can get the cameras fastest out in all the venues that are out there, because there is a lot of there's a lot of business out there to do that. So for us, we have had a developing tool that we call Spiideo Perform that we work with, but now we have the Spiideo Play with media and streaming, which will be or already are going to be the biggest income source from us, I would say, and from now on, I will say. Even if we continue to work on our developing tool and all the teams and are using that for the players themselves, but for sure the streaming and media, it's going to be huge. We just started that, I would say.
Miska, Wisehockey, last 12 months. What are the big things that have happened or changed since a year ago?
Of course, some growth. So you may have seen also World Championships. So there is very familiar tracking system. So we haven't done any announcements, but we have been playing U18, U20 women
with the chip in the puck.
Yes, last year, all the tournaments. And of course, on top of that, so analytics itself, it is going very fast forward. So we have huge asset of track games, so more than 7,000 profitable games in hockey. And of course, we have also football, which is not so relevant in this context, but we are also doing that. So we are tracking 1,000 football games per year. But I think even more importantly, what kind of, let's say, how it can be very easily used, how the data can be very easily used, how you can package that kind of not necessarily like a final way, but but that it is easy to use for the service providers because we have large set of service providers. For example, with DL, there is telecom and that kind of large companies who are using the data. So what they need, how we need to package that for the TV, how we need to package that for the betting. We are doing lots of things, let's say behind the curtains that it would be easy to use for the service providers.
Now, Wisehockey only does the collection of data, tracking and things. You don't actually analyze the data yourselves.
Yes, we do.
You do
we
as well.
do also. Tracking is 10% of our service. So our beauty is that we can turn those coordinates into statistics, and then of course you can do lots of different kind of machine learning, AI, whatever buzzwords you have, but we are having all of those available, and then the question is how you can deliver those forward, because it doesn't matter how nice things you are having by yourself, but how that is used, and that's super important for us at the moment.
Meghan, the last 12 months, what's happened in your world?
Yeah, I think kind of echoing everyone else on this panel, it's a great time to be in data. I think more than ever, there's so much demand for it. So maybe even tripled in the last 12 months in terms of revenue, and our growth has been better than ever. Our NHL teams that we work with have done it. This is their best season yet. So we're fairly confident in terms of the next 5 years, but I'd say for us, we like to iterate quickly and build slow. So definitely having that roadmap of where our tech's going, what we want to incorporate, have very key partnerships that we're extremely proud about. And yeah, I think that there's just so much more need for better data on the media side, better data for sports betting, and obviously like the team performance side has always been there. So more verticals than ever to sell into, and more demand for data than ever before.
When you say growth, that you say now, is it you're increasing your pricing, or is it you're actually, as you said, ×3 or whatever it was in more customers?
Yeah, just generating more too, more product offerings, better data feeds, better use cases. So, I mean, you can get value anywhere, right? It's not just like many cases you actually decrease your price and just get more scale. So for us, it's about channel sales, partnerships, working behind the scenes to make hockey better overall, more standardized, different types of models that can be used in different verticals. Like what you use in sports betting is not the same as maybe what a general hockey fan wants to know on TV. And, I kind of walk both sides and work in both to understand different markets, because yeah, if you're trying to be a coach on the bench, you don't want necessarily the same data and analytics that someone might use to tell a story in media. So developing different feeds and product lines and ways for people to plug and play. You want that frictionless experience for clients, for people in hockey. I'm sure a lot of you have gotten data in an Excel sheet and you're like, now I have to work with it, right? We want to solve those problems so that people are empowered to be the best analysts they can be and don't have to spend time cleaning and worrying about data accuracy. They want to, have a jumping off point that makes them better. So for us, expansion is just like hitting the elite level. Like we go out on the top, 2% of the market and try to derive value from that. And then I guess the business plan is to work downwards, but we're still at that top end right now and expanding rapidly.
Thorsten, sports contract, last 12 months.
I would also say from our side, in Central and North Europe, the majority of teams use our system. I think the biggest change what we can see is, so we had really also to ramp up our data team. So we have a huge data collection team now. And what we can see, and it goes together with Spiideo and other companies bringing camera systems to the different teams, age levels, and with that, there's more and more demand for data and professional software solutions. And I think it's because we spoke before about analytics data for 20, 18, 16, where's the limit? And I think we can see even in Europe, if the teams they start with U20, but then the season after we can see, oh, can we get it for U20, U18? Then the season after they kind of, oh, we would like to have it for U16. And what we see already in North America, we have teams there, U12, U14, whatever. And I think that's just the trend. I think we will get data on all levels. It will be more and more data, it will be more granular. And it triggers down from the top. that we have more and more granular data on the top level. To produce this data is more expensive, or you need chip tracking systems or others. So, and then step by step it goes down. And I think in a few years, we will see a lot of really NHL-like data on junior level, and we will say, oh, how could we be without?
A funny story about, I don't know, it's what, 15 years now, when the new composite sticks came along. I remember that the salesperson for CCM said, we'll just give it to the pro team, and then the juniors can have the wooden sticks, and then we'll push everything down. And that lasted 1 year. The second year, just as you say, all the juniors wanted the composite sticks. Then the under 16, and then when the parents started screaming, that's when everything got really crazy. So obviously that trickle down effect is something that will happen, in my opinion, in this situation as well.
The last years of that academies come to us and say, our players expect that they get the ship and these kind of things. A few years ago, nobody thought that it's possible. Now they expect it. They have the mobile phone. They have they know how to use these kind of devices, and they want to see themselves much more than before.
Let's stay here for a few minutes. All of you have just said something about more data, more data, more data. In some way differently for the different businesses and for the different companies. But when are we going to say we have enough data and that we need to do other things? Or is it going to be a lifelong search for data?
I think that the next thing what we will have is we need to have better data. I think all companies try to improve the data. It's not only to have more.
Now that scares me, because earlier today we said we trust the data.
Yeah.
Didn't we say that earlier today? That we trust it or we don't trust it?
No, I think they trust. Sorry, they should just jump in here, please. But I think they have the best data available, and they build their models on it, and that's the best they can get. But if we produce better data, then they're happy and they will work with the better data. I think that's
Morgan, can you guys produce better data?
Yeah, we most of the time just produce the footage of that, then the rest is put in data. So the data is very important, of course, but if you can put footage to the data, when Frederick talked before, with all the data you come in, he can say that is the player's fatigue or not, but then if you can also see the footage and see, okay, how was the guy at practice today? Does it actually come together with the data we're dealing with? So yeah, I would say it's I don't really answer that, because we more of the footage data in that sense, if you compare to the rest of a lot of guys are sitting here with collecting data. But I would say it's very nice to have footage of everything you do when you're on ice to do that.
Meghan, data for you guys, is that a top priority, and can we create more and more and more and understand more data?
I mean, I think the answer is yes. I think that technology is definitely speeding up. It's not slowing down in terms of our ability to create more scalable solutions. But then there's also the other side of, like, what do you do with the data, right? So whether it's analytics, insights, tools, products, it's not just okay to have, hey, we have a mountain of big data that we can't really transfer to anyone in a succinct way. We have to make it make sense for their goals. So we're seeing kind of that chicken and the egg, where it's like, yes, you can create more data sets, bigger data sets, smarter data sets, but if you can't get that to the end consumer or the end decision maker, what does it really matter what you have? So it doesn't matter if you're the analyst that's trying to work with a coach or a GM, or you're a producer, or you're someone that's trying to set lines for a sports book. I think more data is great, but you also have to create the pipelines, the APIs, the ways that people can access your data sets that make sense for their business structure and their end goals. So I always think technology progresses and you're able to, like, use that in sports, but you have to be mindful of what your actual goals are and just not go, hey, more is better because we can do it. Not how the end user will receive it. And I mean, a good example is probably like ChatGPT, right? Like, no one thought that you could, like, ask, sort of like a NLP type style questions and get responses. But, there could be ways to interface with, like, data sets where you can ask, like, who was the best player last night? And they can actually spit that out to you verbally or on your screen, where you don't have to be a data scientist to be able to curate and run reports. You might be able to actually voice prompt it. So I think tech will definitely accelerate the way people use sports data, but it's up to businesses and up to tech companies to build that mindfully of what the goals are.
So what you're saying is that the coaches can ask the internet who they should put in the lineup the next day. All of a sudden, they're going to have a new lineup to exactly how they're going to beat the team.
Well, and I mean, the thing is like with all technology, there's sort of baseline approaches, right? So the great thing about being human is we do have the eye test and we have the emotional capacity to make some of those decisions that maybe are different from analytics too. So I think there's always going to be layers of human interface. It's just how much and when, and how do you make people more efficient and do their jobs better so they can spend less time cleaning data or worried if they're using data and more time doing their actual job.
We have actually that already in testing, internal testing, so you can
Ask which player should be on the ice.
Yeah, that kind of, let's say.
I can go into coaching.
But of course, it is a little bit subjective that how you feel it, but we have been using different kind of interfaces. Of course, ChatGPT, interesting one. So
Sure. Things that have, Morgan, did you get a chance to say anything about?
Yes.
So should I move forward? I'll start with you. You guys are all talking now different products. That didn't hit me the last time we talked. That now you're going into product diversification. You're finding new things to do, new ways, obviously, to make money. Do you speak with the teams? And we had three analysts here. Do you talk to them what they need and discuss with them? None of them actually said that you guys call them up and want to know what they have to say. How do you develop your products? Is it you have people that do that for you that are hockey pros or soccer pros or basketball pros, whatever it may be? I'll start with you, Morgan, just because I thought I left you behind.
No, you didn't left me behind. I answer it, but no, we have of course we listen to our clients out there and what kind of needs they want. It's different a little bit, I would say, in that sense. But we help them develop. I would say we have specific for different sports. We have specific. We go into specific. How you say that? Let's have Autofollow, for example, that follows in the game, etc. It's very specific for ice hockey, and it's specific for other sports we have. But of course, we listen to the clients that we have out there, and if there is a specific needs for them. Our focus is the footage and try to be as good as possible in multiple angles. It's always live. That's another one thing that is highly demanded, because in the elite space you don't have time to wait for the footage, etc., or to come. They want to have it as quick as possible. So that's something that we really focus on in that sense. And also that we have a system that is open for other things, because I said before, but when you're in the highest level, you have multiple things to use to be as optimal as possible. But if you go down to an academy, for example, under 16, 18, and 20s, they maybe use Spiideo totally different than compared to the first team is doing. But of course, we're helping and talking to the teams out there that helps us. Absolutely.
Meghan, what kind of research do you do with your clients and try to create new products?
And this is where I think it's like a bit different from sports versus tech companies. Like, you're always taught the market is your teacher in tech companies. And if you aren't solving people's problems, no one's going to buy your product. So I think you're constantly iterating on where are their actual problems, how to solve them, and having that feedback loop. So building little products or sending a different data feed, figuring out if that works for a specific segment, and then trying to make it better. So I don't think it's like sitting down with analysts one-on-one being like, hey, can you design my product roadmap? I think it's like getting in the analytics role and thinking, okay, where are their pain points? What do they wish they could do? How do we solve those problems for them and make their job easier? And I think once you do that as a tech company, you'll get your clients up, because everyone wants to be as efficient and as best as they can and win the Stanley Cup or win the championship, whatever that looks like. And you want to walk down that road with them. So obviously performance is one side, but then creating scalable products too, where media has ease of use. You're solving problems for sports books. You're empowering people to do contract negotiation. Whatever that bucket is, there's underlying ways of how to build, whether it's data structure or data products, to make that easier. So yeah, I think it's a constant evolution. And as people have new problems, you need to be, very forthright and aggressive to solve them too. But I don't think you're ever done, right? It's not like, hey, we built a product, let's ship it, it's over. You're always constantly behind the scenes trying to make things better. So it's probably the number one march of a tech company is figuring out product market fit.
And you consider yourself a tech company, not a sports company?
Yes.
Miska, are you guys a tech company or a sports company?
I think both. It's very difficult question what we are, but we are also, of course, we are having multiple like a touch point at how we are developing the product. So of course, sports side, for example, in Finland, we have task force inside the league that what should be there that teams would be happy. I think there is a couple of teams also here who are in that task force. We have been going through DL teams just in this springtime that what they want to have in next season. We have been discussing with TV, Telecom, Seymour, they have been visiting us and we have been having the discussion that would be interesting for the wide audience, betting agencies in from this big player in international ice hockey. So what is needed there? So it's very, very wide like a scope that when you want to do like a better product, and you need to always also save the analytics, because that's the thing that what we are actually delivering at the end. So how you can tell the stories out of the hockey. So it is story for the professionals or it is story for the consumers, but still it is related to hockey and how you analyze that, and you have that context of what is happening on the ice. In our case, it is also that what you are doing, it should be available real time, because the value is so much lower if you are delivering something next day or week after.
Thorsten, are you a tech company or you're a sports company? Sports tech companies. Now you're mixing them together.
I think we are a software company, but we for many years produce data, and as I mentioned before, the data production is quite huge. So most people in our company are working in the data production area or looking into research and machine learning, people tracking, all these kind of things. So I think for us, it's the most important is really to talk to the teams, to the coaches, to the analysts, to the scouts, to the managers, board managers, and to get feedback. Internally, we have hockey people, we have hockey analysts, so we try to get this feedback from outside or the positive or negative things about the system back to our team, and then we discuss internally, and we have, I think, the same discussions that are outside that analysts or hockey people would like to, or hockey coaches, how they want to see the data or what to do, and we have this discussions internally too, that we have information from the others say we want that, and then the hockey people say, oh no, that's not how we want. So but the feedback comes from the teams, clearly.
I'll let you think about this question for a minute, but which is the best organization you guys have been to and seen? Who does the best job? I mean, it's always good that you can always brag about someone. Yeah, I'm not going to say who's the worst team or who doesn't do a good job. I'll just ask who's done the good. We'll get back to that question in a second. Another question last year was tracking. Now tracking is with the puck and a chip in the puck. We discussed, and there was a lot of discussion about infrastructure in the arenas. I was with the European Hockey Alliance in Malmö Arena, where they were putting up the tracking systems so they could follow the puck and they could follow players, and they could. But there was a discussion: how many arenas can we put this system in to be able to track 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 20-year-olds, or is it just the game arenas for the pro teams, for the SHL teams in Sweden, or for the German teams, whatever it may be? Is that still a problem for us? Is the infrastructure still an issue for the data business? Whose turn is it? Meghan's turn.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of a classic issue, is like scalability of whatever tech you use. So obviously like a computer vision or some sort of hardware-less system is more desirable, but maybe for accuracy and where we're at right now, it's not the most best option. So I think there's always a trade-off between like cost of whatever you're putting it and how many arenas you can reach and at what level they want to opt in or fund that. So I think it'll be a constant issue depending upon what the leagues decide, because in many cases that does impact what the teams want to put in and how they want to use it. And You know, is it just for a team that feels like they can have a competitive advantage, or do you want more data for a league-wide approach? I think all of those change what systems you put in, how they're used, and then where that data goes. Because like I said, if you're collecting great data and you're just a team and you're not sharing it with anyone and the league doesn't know, then you can't use it for fan engagement. Then you can't use it for all sorts of other areas that data helps in. So there's a ton of business questions, and a lot of the questions add up around capital. So who's going to fund that investment?
Morgan, the infrastructure for you guys often put up your own cameras and then have that to use. How do you see the infrastructure in the ice arenas in Sweden, Germany, Finland, wherever it may be in Europe, where we're playing hockey? How does that affect your situation?
Not a whole lot, to be honest. We have a cloud-based solution. Most of the arenas today have internet somehow in the arenas, so that's usually no problem for us. Sometimes our issues in that sense, if you come to maybe a football club and they train way out in the bushes, something that could be a problem to maybe get internet there. But no, I won't say that it's a problem at all.
And it would be
for us
with junior teams that practice in a different arena because you put up the cameras in that arena?
No, that's usually no problem at all for us when it comes to that.
Thorsten, how is it for you, the infrastructure? Do you have everything you need, or does it need to be improved drastically?
I think we can always get better videos. I think that's something that we still need. The last years there was a big change. There's no question about it. So that's why the market is growing or exploding.
Because of the infrastructure expansion.
Exactly. The camera systems, also that you need not only the cameras, it helps. You need to have good internet to transfer more and more data from the arenas. So I think that's all developing. Still, there's room in a lot of countries, I would say. Yeah. I mean, it's different in Sweden than even in Germany. Germany has a lot of problems, or Austria, or some other countries with internet speed or other things in the arena. So,
Miska, you guys have done this, and you do it. You were at the World Championships. You're tracking. You're creating the data. Could you take that and do it in a different arena that wasn't fully prepared for the World Championships, or was this arena tip top with the best advanced technology that there is?
No, we are going to arenas and install that even for the tournament. So and then we remove if there is no usage afterwards. So that is not the problem. And overall, you can go very easily to youth games. For example, in Finland, we are playing U20 in those arenas where the system is. Because the beauty in our case is that you don't need to have anybody if you have the systems there. So everybody's claiming that automatically is happening something, but in our case, literally there is nobody to do anything for the system. So you can play how many games you want to play in that arena. And then the hardware is cost per game or practice is next to nothing. So it is more like an attitude thing, and as we spoke here, so it is going step by step, lower and lower level, and you can get league like a quality statistics out of whatever games, even hobby games, sponsor games. Teams are using that for those sponsor events, and they are making some money on that. So.
Another great product. Get all the old people to play games and analyze their speed.
Yeah, if you pay something to us, so you can skate 40 kilometers per hour. So.
Okay. What I hear from you then is that the infrastructure that was discussed a year ago, that was one of the things that could have slowed things down or that's being fixed rather quickly.
I would say it's different. I mean, the arenas, I think they are set up quite well, but still we have a lot of coaches that are not set up quite well in my eyes. So I think we have a lot of
internet connection or
if you talk just about internet, I think there are a lot of teams that have now good internet in the arena, but then they don't have it in the coaching rooms, or if they're on the road away and then they don't get from the opponent team the infrastructure, or they don't get the right places in the arena where they would need to sit to do their work, or they don't have it set up. So it's not in all leagues, but we can see still that, yeah.
Interesting. We've got about 15, 20 minutes left. Any questions? Anybody, any thoughts? Eric?
Wisehockey and Stathletes, how, from my knowledge, you're not on the Swedish market for the moment. How do you see the Swedish market going forward? Is it interesting
It
or?
is super interesting, but I don't know why we don't have anything here. So of course it is question that, for example, in our case, we are not pushing. So when the time is right, because eventually you need to do something similar to what we are doing. I don't say that you have to buy the system from us, but eventually it's not even questionable that you want to track and then you want to do those analytics things based on that tracking but you cannot force because there has to be both. And that's our philosophy. So we are going to markets that are ready for that. I'm a little bit surprised that we are not in Sweden. So because this is very advanced country, there is lots of knowledge and so on. So I don't exactly know that what is the issue. But from our perspective, we have had so much to do, and currently we are negotiating with different kind of leagues. So you have always some place that where you can go. So there is enough to do, so we don't have to push anybody. And it is not even good way to do it because the benefits are coming when time is right, I would say. But we would be super happy to be in Sweden, so super happy.
Anybody else?
Hi, thanks. I'm assuming all four of you guys have very different business models. Do you mind speaking to that for a second? Like the question about being a tech company or a hockey company. Obviously, tech companies go to VCs and get billions of dollars, maybe not billions, but hundreds of billions.
Not billions. Actually, not much right now because there's not much capital out there, but continue.
Yeah, but essentially like they get upwards of hundreds of millions of dollars thrown at them based on huge valuations and potential for return. So do you guys mind talking about how you raise money, how that maybe compares to current tech companies? Yeah, just along those lines.
Great question. Morgan, you said you've increased by 30%. Is that what I heard from you last time?
Yeah, we have like people, yes. I would say that since we had almost 97% growth from last year. So we had a good year, but we have been a small company, but we're growing fairly quickly. We have about 3,000 installations worldwide. So it's fun in that sense. There's a lot of demand in the business right now for this kind of solutions. We have owners that is, I would say, local in that sense, that puts in a little bit of money, but it's a long-term relationship, I would say, in that sense for us. So of course we have our goals and pretty tough budgets, etc. But it's a long-going project this year now for us to move forward.
So your business model then has one owner that makes the choices or that runs and finances, or there's other solutions to financing?
Yeah, we have a couple of owners that is in there, but it's and also people that works there are part owner as well, which I think it's quite nice and to have loyal people that works for the company. So we have I would say a handful of investors that put in a little bit more money than everybody else, but in a long way in that sense, I would say.
I would assume that you have a business plan. Did that business plan think that you would grow by 97%, as you said, this year, or did it just kind of explode without actually understanding why it exploded?
No, but the business. First of all, we have a product that works and that people like, extremely user friendly, etc., etc. But there is a big demand in all over team sports at the moment for this kind of product that we launch. So it's we will continue. We hopefully will continue to grow in the way we want, and as it is right now, it seems like we are going the right way, I would say, in that sense.
Meghan, you're a tech company. Are you owned like all other tech companies with people around the world?
Well,
Very small?
no, and I mean, like, I think you just have to look at yourself as a business. It doesn't matter if you're building tech, if you're in a historical business, you want to be profitable, you want to be smart, and you want to have great clients. We're actually a bootstrap tech company, which technically means that we don't have any investors. We can build over long time horizons and make whatever decision is best in the market. And bootstrapped profitable companies are like the biggest prize right now with a market where, you know, getting capital at high interest rates is not desirable. So I would say they're some of the best tech companies in the world do that as well. It's just can be painful because, as everyone knows, getting to the first million is hard, getting to 5 million, getting to 10 million. There's sort of touch points where to get to the next step, sometimes you do need to inject more capital to scale out, but we haven't. We've gotten through a lot of hard steps with our own revenue and driving through being profitable. So we're a bit unusual in terms of company structure, but I think in sports, which sometimes takes a lot longer to build than like another tech market, it's very desirable to be able to build slow and help people grow and not have to force growth at all costs.
Wisehockey?
So major owner is the mother company Bitwise, and we don't have any external funding, so it is inside small group, and then of course the business model that we have the betting and TV part, so it's kind of investment that it is also paying back. So
I don't know if you can talk about how long your agreements with the betting companies and with the TV company. Is that something that's public knowledge, or is it something that you want to keep a secret?
Big secrets, but typically it is same like length as the league contracts, and we have shortest contracts are 4 years plus some years, and then up to 10 years. So between that. So because there is no sense to start doing something for 1 year, so you don't have services if you would need to change something in 1 year. So we have not done less than 4 years contracts.
Thorsten, you started the company yourself?
Yes. We are completely self-financed. We never had investors in the company. The good thing about that is that you don't have to pay money back. No longer, so you can take your time, you can concentrate on things. You're not pressured to grow. But on the other hand, what is also to the question about tech companies, I think sport companies, either they do all the sport, and even that is normally not good enough or not big enough that you can get really financing, because these kind of venture capital companies, they talk about millions, billions of users, and sport is, if you don't talk about the fans, but if you talk about hockey operation and these kind of things, then it's a very limited number. And normally venture capital companies come in and say, how can you grow over the next 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, and then they want to see really huge numbers. What is unrealistic in sport? If you talk about the hockey operations or the football operation or whatever, about these kind of parts of sport or sport organizations.
To finish this round, I'd really like each one of you to give us your thoughts on the coming 6 to 12 months. What is going to change? The last 12 months, things have moved forward extremely quickly. Additionally, it seems like all of you have been successful and have used the advancement of the data to your advantage, which is great, and congratulations to that. But what are we talking about in exactly 1 year? Miska, you were at the World Championships. You were the team that was doing, or your company that did a lot of really good things there. What will we be talking about in a year from now?
I think there will be more interfaces for data, how it is goes out. So for the fans, and then also for the let's say analytics, and then also sport like chiefs and that kind of areas. So how you can use the data, there is more ways to do it, and we are placing lots of effort on the usability, that you get very easily different kind of data, different kind of formats. Not just that you are getting lots of data, because that's We have already lots of data.
Somebody has to interpret the data,
Yeah,
new products.
yeah, new products. Yeah. Also fans, also for the teams and the leagues. And video is always very close contact with those
Okay.
services.
Do I need to bring up a question about the data's validity then, if we're going to be creating so many different products? You don't have to answer. Morgan, what are we going to be talking about with you in a year's time?
Yeah, hopefully video systems in every ice arena. That would be nice to collect all the data that everybody else gives out. But no, but we are going to continue to focus on. We've been focused a lot of teams, but now we're getting into leagues as well. We are right now in the top leagues in Europe as with the extremely nice league exchange model that we have that people can use for analytics. So we're going to continue to do that. NHL is a big thing for us as well. We have I think a handful of team right now, and they think about us a little bit different maybe than European teams think, but that is quite interesting to get the feedback from them how they do it. But yeah, we're just going to continue to what we're doing right now because I think we're on the right path. Be open for other solutions if there is other solutions in the market, which it is, to be have an open source to work together with them in the way we can.
Meghan, next 12 months, what's going to happen in your world?
Yeah, I would agree too with the other panelists. I think it's just more scale, refining products. I think 12 months is a pretty short turnaround for any new developments. So I would assume, it'll just be not just more of the same, but just superpower whatever we are doing and get it to more people in easier ways that they can digest. So better data feeds we already have coming out for the start of next season. And I think that'll improve a lot of people's processes. So we're really excited to work on that.
Thorsten?
Yeah, we continue building easy software, with easy to use software and really scaling and quality of data. A lot of scaling is our biggest work probably in the next 6 months, 12 months.
It sounds like you guys have all been doing that in some way or another and want to continue to do that as well. What's our biggest risk? What do we don't want to happen? What could happen in this world that would be a problem? Thorsten, don't get too long to think about it, but
I mean, generally there's risk with the war in Russia and a lot of other things. So I think we have a lot of risk in Europe. I think also that the economies in the different countries are not very good. I think it will trigger to the teams at the moment to do quite well still or to grow, but I think that sooner or later that will have an effect on the spectators or on other things. I think that will be the biggest challenge because we can see that sport in itself wants to develop and wants to get better and bigger, and the teams are more interested too in technology. So that's not the issue. I would say it's more the world economy that probably we have to be very careful or scared of or keep in mind.
Morgan, what's the risks that you guys have in the next months, year?
Good question. It is a good question. I don't really know.
Things are going so well, you're not worried about the risks, maybe.
No, but we try to find smart solutions for most of the people out there. Of course, there is a risk. There's a financial risk in most of the sports here, but I don't really know what to say there. Sorry, I can't.
It's okay. Miska, what's the risk for you guys?
I think those are those external risks that something happens around us. So like a new COVID or something, I think those are that you cannot prepare.
But other than that, things look pretty positive in the next 6 to 12 months.
It is solid, and I think this business is going forward. So the question is that how fast it is going forward. So I don't see that it is, going down. So there is lots of room for different kind of new companies and new innovations and so on. This is not end. It is like a start.
I've written down a bunch of things that teams or groups or that are still available that you can still expand on. So I guess I understand that. Meghan, what are your risks?
I mean, I think there's always risks, whether that's, are you moving fast enough? Are you moving too fast? Are you getting clients what they need? Are you really listening to clients? I think you're always balancing that approach. And I mean, like we were discussing earlier, there's not that much capital out there at good price points, especially not in North America. So you're not raising funds at this point. And if you are, you're taking down rounds if you're already heavily capitalized as a company. So I think the biggest risks are seeing some of these companies that have established groups that may not be able to service them well or may have really inaccurate data moving forward. So I think making sure everyone on this panel and any other company can really scale and grow, because I think we all want to make hockey better. We all want better data and analytics, and we don't want like a heavily fragmented market where everyone has little pieces but can't do the big puzzle either and get great data, great distribution. So I think the biggest risk is just having a very fragmented market that everyone has a very small portion, and we can't really push forward the tech that way.
Interesting. The one thing that I talk about growing fast, if the analyzation of the data becomes something that is something not focused on, that seems to me that could be also an issue for a short period of time when the analysis doesn't actually meet what people are selling. But interesting. I talked about the best team. Eric, Zach, they were down here. They're the analysts that work for the teams here. Where should they go and do a on-site visit? Who's the best team out there that you guys work with? Where should they go? Morgan, where should these guys go and visit? Don't say Frölunda. That's where Eric is from.
I know, but it's a fantastic good use case to use actually further.
No, he wants to go further than his own city.
Now, but I would say overall, the Swedish team, I would say overall, it's in an extremely high level, I would say, when it comes to developing and using our software in that sense throughout the club in developing. I think that shows a lot how they can really use a product like ours, I would say.
So you're saying that we got to send Zach up to Gothenburg as opposed to letting Eric be in his hometown?
Yes.
Meghan, where should these guys go? Who should they meet? Which team should they want to have a site visit with?
Sorry, did you ask me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, without like tipping my hand to what I know in the NHL, there's obviously a lot of high functioning NHL teams that I think do a good job and integrate data and analytics and tech and sports science and training. From an outside perspective of like what other markets and what other companies are doing a great job, I mean, Flutter, FanDuel are absolutely crushing it in the US and Canada, have huge trading groups, work with a lot of data, are very engineering focused, and probably have like 10 times the departments of most NHL teams. So for me, working with FanDuel, who sees all sorts of other high functioning sports, it's really cool to see what they do on their side. So if you want an outside perspective of just in sport or in hockey, I would go with FanDuel.
What team did you say, or what organization was it?
Flutter. I mean, they're the head organization that owns them. They're very a large conglomerate and work with every major a group in sports to provide sports data, sports analytics, and obviously like their sports book. So they're from that angle. But when you're looking at high functional teams and people that have a lot of support and build products, they certainly would stand out for me.
Interesting. Something new. Miska, where should these people go? Who should they visit?
We don't have any sites in Wisehockey, so
it doesn't have to be ice hockey. There could be. They talked about going to soccer teams, or
if you want to see data in action, so in Tampere we have world's nicest arena, lots of data available for the big audience if you come to Linköping. So that's the best place.
Putting it up on the video, putting in your applications, your telephones.
Different ways. So you should not go to NHL.
The newly built arena in Tampere is more advanced than many NHL arenas. Interesting. Thorsten, where these guys want to go on vacation, they want to go visit somebody, they want to do something new.
I think that the was mentioned before, to go to different sports. I think that's really important. I think we should look to different sports. Again, I mean, there's no question about football. I would go to Manchester. I would go to Liverpool. I would go to Arsenal, to these kind of teams to see how they work, because I think they invested a lot the last 20 years into that. To see how you work with data, how you do all these kind of things. So I would go to football. I would go to basketball teams to see how they work.
European basketball teams or North American?
In that case, North American.
Okay.
But in football, there's no question. The European, especially the teams in England, are extremely strong in these kind of parts.
Okay. Any last questions? Simon?
Question to Meghan. Hi, Meghan. This is your friend Simon here.
Hi, Simon.
Last time we spoke, or the times we have spoken, you have repeatedly said that North America is your core business, and you don't know if you wish to expand Stathletes to Europe. So my concrete question is, will you eventually expand to Europe? But first and foremost, will you honor us with your presence at the upcoming EHC forum in Tampere in September? In this beautiful
I do want to come to
Miska just
Finland.
mentioned.
Don't get me wrong. And we actually do have some European clients. We're just very mindful of making sure that we have that feedback loop where we can fully support whatever the client is looking for. And as you know, the NHL, North American hockey, is a different type of market. So for us, it's all about being all in with our clients when we're able to do that. And I'm happy to talk to any European leagues or other clients in Europe that we don't work with. And I would also love to be in Finland in September if I don't go on the NHL. I think they have a post or early season. I don't think it's in Europe this year. I think it's really far. But
in Stockholm.
Is it in Stockholm? Okay,
So.
there you go.
No, September is actually Australia of all places.
Really?
Australia, yeah.
Okay.
Thank
I
you
think
very
that they're
much.
playing a couple other games. Are they playing a couple other games, regulation games in Europe this year?
I may have been wrong. I thought they were coming.
Yeah, they are playing 4 games in Stockholm, but that's in November.
Okay. Okay.
But then they are playing 2 games in Australia. It's LA Kings and one other team.
Well, nice to see you, Simon, and I hope I see you in Finland.
See you, Meghan.
Meghan and Morgan, thank you so much for being online with us and talking with us. We really appreciate it. Miska, Thorsten, thank you for being here. Great talking to you guys, and I'm really happy for you all that things are moving in a positive direction. Hopefully we'll be able to be just as positive, even more positive a year from now when we're back here. Thank you very much.